Nothing excites the crowd more than an ankle breaker. That's not surprising. Ankle-breaking moments are the ultimate display of one-on-one competition, two of the world's best players trying to outmaneuver each other, and only one can come out on top. It's also an area of the game where more creativity comes into play. The best ankle breakers are both exciting and beautiful to watch. Here are some of the NBA's greatest ankle breaker moments. Jason Tatum breaks Paul George's ankles. There was a time, not that long ago, where it didn't seem crazy to think the Celtics and the Clippers might be in the finals together. Few would have said it was likely, but most agreed that the Clippers were the clear favorite if it did happen. The kind of walk and hype definitely gets into players' heads and shapes the attitudes of different teams, whether consciously or not. There's no doubt this was true for the Celtics during an early season matchup in 2019 with the Clippers on their home court at the Staples Center. Eager to prove themselves and upset the home crowd, the Celtics pushed LA to a much closer final minute than many would have expected. Finally, down 3 points with less than 20 seconds on the clock, it fell to 21-year-old Jason Tatum to make a clutch play. Not only did Tatum make a clutch play, he did it in spectacular fashion, creating arguably the greatest ankle-breaking moment of that entire season.
Tatum drives, George right there. Tatum gets a wide open look and knocks it down! Jason Tatum!
This play forced overtime at the Staples Center. As with any ankle breaker that is so brutal and important to the game, it was controversial at the time too. Just about every fan in the city of Los Angeles was convinced Tatum had pushed off Paul George and should have been called for a foul. Meanwhile, across the country, Boston fans were arm in arm, singing Irish folk songs and spilling beer everywhere, convinced that Tatum made one of the great clutch plays of his career. The referees ultimately sided with Boston. No foul was called on Tatum, the basket was counted, and both LA and Boston fans were given 5 more minutes of intense back and forth between the two finals contenders. Sadly for Boston, their joy was short-lived. Despite scoring 30 points and playing a total of 41 minutes, Jason Tatum came just shy of leading his team to victory. LA edged out a narrow 3-point win, but it proved way harder than anticipated and cost them the ankles of one of their stars and a highlight that will live on for years to come. Kawhi breaks Giannis and Brogdon's ankles. Breaking one defender's ankles is incredible, but breaking two at the same time is extremely rare. It's even more rare that such a crazy moment would happen during a heated playoff matchup. Competition in the playoffs is so fierce that most defenders simply wouldn't allow it to happen. Apparently, no one programmed the code for this rule in the software of Kawhi Leonard. However, he pulled a double ankle breaker that's as brutal as any we've ever seen, and he did it while beating the team many had picked to win the NBA title that year. It's easy to forget how hyped the Milwaukee Bucks were in 2019. They had the best record in the NBA, Giannis won MVP, and people were saying this might be the team to destroy the Warriors dynasty. On top of all this hype, the Bucks met Toronto in the Eastern Conference Finals and won the first 2 games. It's well known that being down 2-0 in the NBA Finals is a near-death experience. Only 26 teams in the history of the NBA had overcome that deficit, or roughly 6%. But against all odds, Toronto was about to become the 27th. They were also about to become the team Milwaukee was supposed to be and steal the Warriors trophy. This shocking series of events all began to first come into view when Kawhi put this move on Giannis and Malcolm Brogdon.
And we know they've come back from double digits in these playoffs.
Off the collision, an open shot for Leonard.
The true power of ankle breakers is their psychological effect. There are a few better examples. The Raptors went on to win this game at home and the next 3, including Game 5 in Milwaukee. Games are won in 4 quarters, and series are won in 7 games. But this one moment marked a major shift in the tide that never swung back the other way. Possibly no other highlight better defines the brilliance of Kawhi Leonard and his champion Raptors during that improbable year. James Harden's 4-point ankle breaker. While the Celtics definitely wanted to prove themselves against the Clippers, it's a stretch to say it was a full-blown rivalry. However, in the Western Conference, it would be no stretch at all to say the Rockets and the Clippers were rivals. In 2019, both felt it was their turn to topple the Warriors. Unfortunately for LA, Boston wasn't the only team to drop a wicked ankle breaker in their home arena. In fact, literally 2 days later, James Harden did the same, and like Tatum, he did it in the final minutes of a close game. And once again, the play became highly controversial.
Under 2 to play. Harden, step back, puts up the 3, got hit, shot's good, and 1! James Harden double team and a chance for a 4-point play.
Not only was this another double ankle breaker, Harden actually made Beverly and George run into each other. He also turned it into a 4-point play, giving the Rockets the chance to go up by 5. Harden wasn't gracious in victory either. He pointed directly at George, directly at Beverly, and then exclaimed, "Wow," as he looked out into the frustrated LA crowd. They were just frustrated because they were losing. The foul that was called looked like a flop to many people. It's hard to tell from watching the footage today, but it does look like it's impossible neither George nor Beverly ever made contact with Harden. What we do know is that despite this incredible ankle breaker, the game wasn't over just yet. For some extraordinary reason, Harden missed the free throw. The Rockets' victory was apparently saved by Clint Capella, who put Houston up by 6 with just over a minute to go. This was probably enough to get most of the LA fans out of their seats and on their way to the exits, but they didn't get far. Lou Williams drilled a 3 within seconds of Capella's bucket. The arena stayed full for the next and final minute of regulation. What followed was one of the best sequences of NBA basketball you'll ever see. It came down to the very last second, and somehow, LA got away with the win. Both this and the fact that he missed the free throw did a lot to erase Harden's incredible ankle breaker, but it didn't erase it entirely. It's still one of the best career plays and one of the most clutch ankle breaker moments in recent history. Jamal Murray breaks Steven Adams' ankles. So far, we've talked about ankle breaker moments that have come at a clutch, or even historic times. Breaking someone's ankles when the game or even the season is on the line is just one flavor though. There are some ankle-breaking moments that are so ridiculous, they stand on their own. Like the time Jamal Murray completely destroyed Steven Adams and celebrated like a character from Naruto. Check it out.
Now the shot clock at 2, the mismatch on Adams.
No, he didn't.
That may actually be one of the nerdiest celebrations we've seen. Is that a crossbow he's firing? Does he have magic balls of fire in his palms? Whatever he's doing, he can get away with it. Because Murray broke Adams' ankles about as bad as ankles can be broken. Kyrie Irving breaks Darren Collison's ankles. Another standout ankle-breaking moment came from Kyrie Irving. No surprises there. Irving is something of a leading authority on the subject. Darren Collison was the main victim of this ankle breaker. But really, Irving whipped it out on the whole Pacers team. It's not every game that you see one player run coast to coast on the inbounds pass like this. Special props go to Collison for not giving up on the play, even while lying on the ground. It looks like he almost actually managed to swipe the ball, which would have made him the star of this highlight instead of Irving. Then again, Irving has a way of making it look like the ball is just within reach, when in reality, he's in full control the whole time. Josh Jackson breaks Jakob Poeltl's ankles. It isn't just guards who break ankles. Sometimes the big guys can dazzle the crowd too. The series of crossover moves, topped off with a slick assist, the Suns' Josh Jackson definitely dazzled when he broke the ankles of Jakob Poeltl.
Jackson, crossover, gets by Poeltl, and then lands with a slam dunk.
Jackson is 6'8", and Poeltl is a 7-footer. Watching these two enormous guys dance around just shows how much the game has evolved over the years, but it's pretty clear who got the better of this dance. Allen Iverson breaks everyone's ankles. Speaking of how the game has evolved, let's go back in time a bit to one of the founding fathers of modern ankle breaking, Allen Iverson. Iverson entered the NBA in 1996. He was selected first overall by Philadelphia, and to this day, he's the shortest first pick in draft history. It didn't take long for NBA fans to figure out why. Many of the dribble moves you see in modern ankle breakers were first introduced by AI. For example, watch this movie put on Antonio Daniels.
Eastern Conference is just throw the cards up in the air right now.
Oh, Allen Iverson, what a move!
This was part of a game where Iverson scored over 40 points, something he did an incredible 74 times during his 15-year career. What's even more incredible is the fact that this play happened all the way back in 2001. Future ankle breakers like Kyrie Irving and Jamal Murray were still little kids. Several current players, including James Wiseman and LaMelo Ball, weren't even born yet. To say AI was ahead of his time is frankly an understatement. Yet, his ankle-breaking highlights go back even further. Even in his rookie season, all the way back in the dark ages of 96 and 97, Iverson was breaking ankles and twisting up the defense in ways nobody has seen before. AI never won a championship, but he's still overlooked in terms of how influential he was and still is today. Like I said, he's definitely one of the founding fathers of ankle breaking as we know it. However, he didn't invent it. This next guy did. Oscar Robertson breaks Victorian ankles. Before Allen Iverson himself was even born, a man named Oscar Robertson was pioneering the art of the dribble move. The name Oscar Robertson often carries a sour taste for NBA fans. Robertson is famous for insisting to this day that he, not Jordan, not LeBron, not Wilt, is the greatest player of all time. This embarrassing and ridiculous claim is not backed up by the numbers, even though Robertson swears it is, nor is it supported by anything other than Robertson himself. It's understandable that this turns people off, but in the end, it's a shame because Robertson definitely is one of the best players ever, if not the best. He also deserved credit for inventing many of the game's essential moves, including the crossover. Robertson's move may not look nearly as impressive today as they did back then, but his creativity served as the foundation on which all future ankle breakers stand. It all had to start somewhere. Plus, while other players had predecessors to look up to and learn from, Robertson had to start largely from scratch. If there are any clips of Robertson actually breaking ankles bad enough to make his opponent fall down, they are lost in the dusty library of the NBA archives. Frankly, nobody was running around fast enough back then by the looks of it. However, Robertson absolutely did break ankles and fake out his defenders in ways nobody had seen, and for that, he deserves an immortal mention in any ankle-breaking conversation, past, present, or future. And speaking of the future, let's get back to modern times. Steph Curry breaks Chris Paul's ankle. That torch that started with Oscar Robertson has been passed down through generations. Many would say its current holder is Steph Curry. If that's true, then Curry stole it from the grip of Chris Paul. It may have even been a defining moment when this happened. Back in 2015, Curry was still up and coming. The Warriors were months away from winning their first championship since the days of Oscar Robertson, and Curry was still in the process of earning his first MVP award. Late in the regular season, Curry and the Warriors were in the Staples Center, which apparently is the place to see ankle breakers. Watch what Curry does, and imagine someone doing a move like this back when Oscar Robertson was the league's best ball handler.
Curry inline shakes Paul out of his boots and hits a fallaway jump shot.
Yeah, I say the game has made some progress. This move was so good, it humiliated the reigning ankle breaker himself. Chris Paul fell down just the same way he normally makes other people do. This must have been a shock for Paul, and back then, it was a bit of a surprise for everyone else too. The only one who wasn't surprised was Curry himself. Curry's list of ankle breaker moments is longer than a CVS receipt. It's also not much of an exaggeration to say that, in his own way, Curry has made a similar impact on the way basketball is played to his predecessors like Oscar Robertson and Allen Iverson. This is all wonderful news for basketball fans. Every time the game looks like it has reached its peak, someone new comes along and takes it to yet another level. Who knows who'll come and take the torch from Curry? Maybe it's someone in the league already, or maybe it's some kid still dribbling around in the backyard. Either way, we have a bright future to look forward to. We hope you enjoy watching these ankle breaker moments. Which moment is your favorite? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below, and be sure to drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss any great content like this. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.